Episode 60. Operation Archon Phase 1 was to eliminate Ritaten Sas Arvina, a critical leader in the Garlean invasion force, and thus destabilize their chain of command. Phase 2 was to blockade Garlean forces scattered in encampments across Eorzea. In order to facilitate Phase 3, the invasion of Castrum Meridianum, for the ultimate purpose of Phase 4, destroy the Ultima weapon. This is the finale of the Reborn storyline, and fittingly, it'll be the finale episode. I was actually waiting up there for a while, in order for the weather to change. It's always foggy here in Camp Blue Fog. But just for the opening of the episode, I wanted a clear shot of the Castrum. It did give me some time to put a little trick up my sleeve for the final battle. Not sure if I'll get the chance to use that trick, but if I do, it would be nice. Not really necessary. Just a little fun thing I want to do. But it'll be a while before we get there. I'm hoping I can wrap this up within 2 hours or less. I don't want to go on too long, but finales are special, I suppose. You have rekindled the flames of courage that burn within our brave men and women's hearts, and for this I thank you. And now, the time for battle is nigh. We must march forth with no worries or regrets. General Raubon awaits you at Castrum Meridianum. The battle will not be an easy one, but I trust that you are up to the task. Godspeed, Private Moiko. This will be a gauntlet of a few different modes of gameplay. I won't get into it until we actually get to them, but it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler to say that we're going to start with a dungeon. This dungeon has had some changes that occurred over quite some time, due to there being cutscenes in the middle of it in the original iteration, and I guess still in the current iteration, which are unskippable. For what it's worth, I think they did their best with what they could, compared to the other dungeons which had cutscenes that made players impatient and fight bosses, as we've seen in my own videos. This one makes it unskippable so that players that are new to the game force the other players that are joining in from duty roulette or whatever to wait for them, thus allowing them to enjoy the cutscene and the boss battle without any risk of making the other players wait, since it's forced upon all players. Of course, these dungeons and missions, after going through a number of changes, have been reduced down to, at the current time of recording, only 4 players in each dungeon, and so forth, when previously I think they were an entire 8-man dungeon, the only one or two of their kind. Not before or since did they have any 8-man things like that, which are, at this point, now only saved for trials, or what's the other one called? Raids. Right, trials and raids, which we haven't done yet. In any case, I should get to it. Our hero returns. I trust that your visit has done much to lift the spirits of our garrison on the eve of our greatest battle yet. Time is of the essence. Let us commence the briefing at once. Brothers and sisters of the Alliance, I would share with you glad tidings. Doubtless spurred on by news of the siege of Castrum Orient, the Maelstrom has struck a double blow. Castrum Occidens and Castrum Marinum are now under blockade. Phase 2 of Operation Archon is a success. Reports tell us that the Guardians offered fierce resistance, but that the Admiral yielded them not one elm. With Occidens, Marinum, and Oriens thus suppressed, the third phase may begin in earnest. Even as we speak, the Order of the Twin Adder moves to block the railway leading hither from Castrum Sentry, and that can mean but one thing. The hour is come to strike at the heart of the Guardian invasion force. Castrum Meridianum, the den of the Black Wolf. My fellow Eorzeans, I am Minfilia, mistress of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. There exist myriad barriers that divide us, those of race and nation, language and creed, to name but a few. Such barriers serve to isolate us from our neighbors, yet they also serve to define who we are. Shorn of them, there would be little to distinguish one from another, and the rich variety of our lives would give way to sterile orthodoxy. These barriers can never truly be broken down, of course, not so long as there is liberty in the world, but they can be transcended. Verily, we do so now, in coming together for this grand endeavor, to fight side by side in defense of our shared home. Before me stands the adventurer Komoi Moriko. You all know her as the woman who will lead the unit tasked with destroying the Ultima weapon. We Scions know a different Komori, however. We know her as a dear friend, who has endured untold hardship on our behalf. A true hero, who has ever blazed a path for us to follow. And why do I tell you this? I tell you, friends, because it is time for us to blaze a path for her. Her objective is to wreak such havoc outside the walls of Meridianum as to afford Komoi and her comrades the time they need to disable the Magitech field generator within. With the path thus cleared, we may finally turn our minds to the true goal of this operation, the destruction of the Ultima weapon. All troops, prepare for battle. I fear I can't accompany you this time. The unenviable task of facilitating communications between our forces has been entrusted to the Ironworks, you see. Know, though, that I will be praying for your safe return. See that you come back to us, my friend. May the crystal bless you and keep you. We will suffer the Black Wolf to prowl our lands no more. Let us teach the hunter what it is to be hunted. Forward, comrades, for Eorzea. For Eorzea. Go now, Komoi, and bring us one step closer to the dawn. And here we are, the first dungeon of the finale. But first, let's have a talk with our comrades. Already heard him say that. Oh, I guess they're just repeating dialogue from the cutscene. Okay. Now, of course, entering with other players forces them to experience the cutscene. But because of the way this game is structured, a lot of players are always actively searching for this particular mission, or this set of missions, because there's a specific entry in the duty roulette that gives you extra bonuses for doing main scenario content, of which there are only a few, like this one. So we'll be entering with other players, and hopefully we won't have to wait too long. I guess this is the first instance where we're gated by item level. Previously we were only gated by level, our character level, which is currently 53. But at a certain point, specifically for the endgame, where you stop leveling up your character, you become gated by item level, which continues leveling up independent of your character, with each new patch coming out. Thankfully, I think I should be up to any necessary item level for the endgame, in part because of the gear that's given to you as part of the job quests. Now then, it says less than 5 minutes, which is the minimum amount of time that it can show on the duty thing. Sometimes it can instantly pop within a few seconds of you queuing up, but that usually only happens when you queue up as a tank or something for other people. In any case, we'll cut out here and resume once we're actually within the dungeon proper. Here we are, Castra Meridianum. It was only a 3-minute wait after all. As I mentioned before, this dungeon underwent a number of mechanical changes. Not only did this used to be 8 players, but it changed a lot of the battles to make it more streamlined, more in line with the length of time it takes to complete other dungeons in the game. But these still take a significant amount of time more than any other dungeons that are comparable. Oh. That's aiming at me. That extra time is why it gets its own entry in the duty finder, for the extra time investment for players that would steamroll this content. Why are they attacking me? Just run by the tank. Not pointed at me, don't have to move. Might be best to just go single target on the boss at this point, rather than doing AoE. Let's do that. We don't have to move, it's dead. I don't remember how much changed, but I think you always had to go to this disposal chute. There's a section here, previously, where players would have to disable a bunch of ceruleum pipelines, I think. I of course played it back when I started playing the game, and it was changed since that time. But I can't really remember it since it's been so long, what it used to be. In general, things like walking around and interacting with things was removed from content like this, in favor of just fighting mobs and fighting bosses, which could be said to be, maybe, predictable or something like that. But at the very least, it makes for return players, or players that are returning every day just to grind out content or gear or whatever, a little bit more bearable. Usually because the most fun parts are just the bosses themselves. And when you consider that players might be doing a mission like this every day, you wouldn't want them to do busy work during it. So I guess the happy compromise is that returning players are afforded a streamlined process, but new players still get a kind of climactic battle. And this is pretty climactic, I think, even compared to the earlier iteration, which was longer than this. Even though it's shorter now, they don't really skimp on throwing a whole lot of enemies at you. That and the bosses are notably a bit more involved than the previous dungeons, as you would expect. We can handle that. I could have weaved that addle if I were better at the game. Can't handle that. Damn. Well, stunned him. I guess the tank was worried for our safety. Luckily he did that for us. He said he couldn't join us during the cutscene, yet here he is. In the previous iteration of this, the 8-man version of the dungeon, there was a long segment where you had to accompany Sid and actually had to wait on him to deactivate something. Now though, it's only gated by your progress with the actual mobs that you're killing. Oh, there's that big-ass cleave. When you're zoomed in as much as I am, it's hard to see the range of that. Diverting all power to cannons. My lord was quite taken with you and the power you possess, the Echo. Naturally, I could not help but wonder whom this princess among women might be. Only to discover that you are but another adventurer, no better than the multitude. Yet in spite of this, the masses hold you their champion, and shower honors upon your head. It defies all reason. How is it that you could be such a thorn in our side? Wherever you appear, you leave havoc in your wake. You even slew Ratanton, one of our very finest. Well, I will not speculate. Truth be told, I couldn't care less how you have done these things. What matters to me is the fact that you have done them. If you are allowed to continue, you will eventually deprive me of all that I have toiled for, all that is mine by right. My minions, my comrades, even my Lord Gaius. Well, you cannot have him. His dreams and ambitions, his body and soul, they are mine, do you hear me? All mine. I lost everything once before. I will not suffer to have it happen again. I will kill you, adventurer. Only your death can bring me peace. The fight with Livia was previously pretty complicated. There were cannons all over the place that people had to man, due to it being 8-man. Now, it's less complicated, but more involved, I would say. Oh, I should have barriered that. Whatever. And addled it too. It's a magic attack. Well, we'll addle the tank buster. Probably better to addle the party-wide attack. AoE, whatever. Here comes her infinite reach. It's a pretty cool attack, wouldn't you say? Full coverage. Anyone new to the game might have trouble reading it. Same thing with this attack. Oh, we're out of range. Damn, I stood in it. I tried to greed. Foolish of me, really. Now's the time to addle. Or a desperation move. No, it's happening all over again. Please, I cannot bear it. Don't take him away from me. My Lord Gaius. That one was for Noraxia. Still haven't forgiven her. Another poor fool who craved Gaius' affections over all else. May her soul know rest. 'Tis a miracle no harm has come to you, my friend. One for which I will happily give thanks. And thanks to your fine diversionary work, we've succeeded in bringing down the generator tower, and with it the Magitech field. The way to the Praetorium now lies open. The only problem is, we can't reach it on foot. Nay, we'll need to take the Enterprise. I left her at the ceruleum processing plant, so let's regroup there. This is it, Gomoy. The final confrontation awaits. And I guess now that we're doing endgame level stuff, we're getting Algan tombstones, which are for endgame gear and the like. Unfortunately, since everyone left during the cutscene, I didn't have the chance to commend anyone. Would have given it to the tank, specifically for that nice thing they did where they stunned that giant cleave. Oh well. I knew you wouldn't let us down, soldier. With the Praetorium stripped of its defenses, the way to the Ultima weapon lies open. The time has come for the final phase of Operation Archon. The white earrings are pretty nice for a glamour, I think. But we'll just get it from the market board if we feel like it. Plus this is level 50, which means we would only be able to glamour level 50 gear or higher. They're probably lower level earrings of the same color that we want to add into the glamour test. And this is it, the ultimate weapon. This is the final quest, main story quest, of A Realm Reborn, the base game. For the final phase of the operation, my flames will storm Castro Meridianum and suppress what is left of the Imperial garrison. If all goes well, this will allow you to reach the Praetorium unopposed, fit and ready for your encounter with the Ultima weapon. Yours is the most dangerous mission of all, but the best must bear the heaviest burden, and you're the best we have. There's not another soul in this realm that could see this deed done, and Merlweb and Connie are of the same mind as me. Though all hangs on your success, you must not let our plight make you desperate. Victory belongs to the bold, not the reckless. Bards are wont to sing of heroes who have valued their life and not next to honor, love, and liberty. But I tell you now, that which men value at naught, they sell cheap. Risk no more than you must. You hear me? Now, best you are off. We have work to do, the both of us. See that your preparations are in order, then report to Sid. He awaits you with the Enterprise at the ceruleum processing plant. May Rhalgr grant you strengths. For the dungeon portions of the finale, I'll be taking them on as Sumner. But for the remaining stuff that aren't dungeons, I think I'll go back to Black Mage, since that's pretty much what I started on, or played the early levels on. I guess I technically started as Gladiator, but that's neither here nor there. The Enterprise is at your disposal. When you're ready to head for the Praetorium, you need only say the word. If we succeed in destroying the Ultima weapon, it will deal a crippling blow to the Empire's hope of conquest. After that, the 14th Legion would not dare move against us, barring the discovery of further Alekan doomsday devices, that is. Let's be on our way, Komoy. Gaius and his plaything await. And not too long after our previous dungeon, we're right into another. Which does mean another queue we'll have to wait on. Last time it was only a 3-minute wait. We'll see how long this one takes. So here we are. The Ultima weapon will almost certainly be housed in the depths of the complex. This is it, my friend. The Praetorium. This time it only took around 6 minutes, still longer than last time, but not too bad for a dungeon queue as a DPS, I think. Pretty sure we have to fight these guys. There were previous iterations where you could ignore them, which is what this person was trying to do by stunning them all. You could interact with a certain thing, But I think that's uninteractable right now. Yes, now accessible. People used to skip right by that if they could, leaving behind teammates that weren't quick enough to activate it. You couldn't activate it if the enemies were on you, due to them interrupting your cast bar if they hit you one time. Now the cutscenes in this one, as well, are mandatory. Which means, of course, the dialogue in those cutscenes will auto-scroll. I noticed in the last episode... No, not last episode, last dungeon. That it was actually kind of hard to keep up with Livia's lines. Not in terms of reading, but actually speaking out loud. If I happen to be unable to read them out loud in time, I guess I won't worry too much. Like the last dungeon, they throw quite a lot at you. It does feel like the amount of mobs we're dealing with is kind of logistically meant for 8 players in terms of lore or something. Like this amount of Magitech armors, which are supposedly pretty fearsome. The layout too has changed. You previously take a different route through the place and end up here, but I think they added that transporter in as a way to streamline the process. Gaius. Cid, my boy, you are late. There is something I always meant to tell you, yet the time never seemed right. It concerns your father. What of him? In the winter of his years, Midas came to abhor his part in Meteor. He told me he wanted nothing more than to wash his hands of the whole sordid business. But he did not wash his hands of it. He helmed the project until the day it killed him. Come now, Cid. You must know that he did not have the luxury of choice. By the time he realized his error, it was too late. Meteor had him completely in his thrall. Shortly before his transformation, mayhap sensing that something was amiss, your father confided to me all the regrets of his life. Most of them concerned you. Early on in your career, he realized you had a talent for devising armaments. It would never fulfill you. Long before you knew your own mind, he saw that you would be far happier using your knowledge for peaceful purposes, and the thought touched him. He was a changed man for it, though he could not let it show. You ripped open the walls in this place just so you could say this to me. What is it you want, Gaius? I want you at my side, Cid. Take up your father's mantle and become the Empire's lead engineer. It is your destiny. My father had a change of heart. You said so yourself. Besides, I have long known my destiny, and I assure you, it lies not with the Empire. A pity. And what of you, adventurer? Will you not consider making the common cause with me? With your powers joined to mine, we might do much for this realm. Together we could bring order to Eorzea and usher in a lasting peace. No, and I can expect no better answer than this, so be it. It was your strength that made me proffer my hand in friendship, and it's your strength that makes me now proffer my blade. Save as an ally, you are too dangerous to be let remain. Run, Sid, or stay. It makes no matter. You cannot escape the past. Guys, wait. Damn it. As expected, they talk pretty fast, making my already bad voicing even worse, but fine by me. I'm not here to voice act. Should have barriered that. I addled it, but barrier would have also been good. Well, I can barrier that. I don't think I barriered that in time. Oh well. You can only use the barrier when Carbuncle is out, so there's a brief window where you can't barrier. Whenever you summon Ifrit, Garuda, or Titan. Here's that big-ass swing. This elevator you used to have to wait for everybody to get onto, because it would actually physically move rather than teleport you. Some people would get left behind. And there used to be a cutscene here for the Magitech armor, because it's the same Magitech armor that you got a few missions ago, kind of a little reunion. The cutscene is maybe unnecessary, because who would have feelings for a machine? Still, the segment is cool. Steamrolling all these enemies, I kind of gave you a little bit of a hard time earlier. By hard time, I mean taking up your time, whereas now you kill them in 2 hits. You go in and outside of the building, but I couldn't be able to tell you why you do that. And these things push you back if they hit you. Try to stand a bit back whenever we encounter a wall like this. But even getting just a little bit close to them gets you in range. They have a deceptive range. There's also the guns, which are kind of less damage, but easier to cast, I guess. Those are the only 2 attacks. That bulkhead is composed of a special alloy, extremely tough. Ordinary fire won't leave a mark, I'm afraid. You'll need to divert all power to the Magitech cannon, as I did at Castra Meridianum. The armor's core is like to expire from the strain, but there's no help for it if we want to press on. Now listen well, press the control, engage ancillary, and fire away. Don't mind the warning lights. I'm sure Komori can figure out how to blow up the machine she's using. She's good with weapons, I like to imagine. Good at breaking them. And there goes our friend, dead forever. You're a natural at this. All right, the way's clear. But it's just you and your own 2 feet now, so be careful. Komori wouldn't have feelings for this thing? Surely not. She would deny it outright. Well, maybe a little bit of respect for a machine that can blow open a huge wall. Respect, not feelings. Completely different. And then, another cutscene. You have been leaving a fine mess in your wake, adventurer. Is someone there? Garland, old friend, how it warms the heart to hear your voice again after all these years. Nero, is that you? You sound well. It would seem that this savage land agrees with you. The highest-ranking tribunus of the 14th. It was you all this time. Tell me, Garland, how long do you intend to keep all the glory for yourself? Oh, what? You've lost me. Don't play the fool with me. Ever since the academy, I have been condemned to live in your shadow. By all objective measure, I was the more talented of the 2 of us, yet that fate counted for naught beside your privileged birth. You were admired as a young prodigy simply because your father was the great Midas non-Garland. When you defected, I felt sure my star would surely rise. But by disappearing, you acquired the status of a legend, your reputed genius gaining credence merely by dint of your absence. Instead of cursing you for a traitor, the people actually came to think of you more fondly. To this day, you are still the young prodigy of Magitech. I, meanwhile, have been made to feel second-rate. I who have continued to serve our nation faithfully. Whenever I fail to exceed, why, it is only to be expected, yet when I exceed all reasonable expectations, people proclaim that I walk in the footsteps of the great Cid, non-bloody Garland. Nero, I don't know what to say. It matters not a whit what I achieve. Your existence has rendered mine worthless. Even Lord Van Balsar saw fit to offer you a place at his side, and this in spite of your betrayal. Did he extend any such offer to me, the man who has remained loyal to him for all these years? Why, no, he did not. Long have I endured this injustice, but no more. Lord Van Balsar is in the midst of activating the fully powered Ultima weapon. It is my magnum opus, the creation that will win me the recognition I am due. I will not let anyone interfere. Nero, what are you? Love how he cuts the music there. Ever since I set foot in this benighted land, I have watched you, every move you have made, every step you have taken. You have failed icons, a feat made possible by the Echo, a peculiar power which shields you from their corrupting influence. It is of little wonder why my lord has taken an interest in you. As have I, truth be told. It is my desire to harness your power for use in the Ultima weapon. Should I succeed, Lord Van Balsar will surely take notice. Besides this, Garland's achievements will be as child's play. Come, adventurer, and yield me the secrets of your power. Nero's a wordy guy. Hard to read. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Should have finished the DPS phase I was on. Didn't get the barrier off in time. Gotta be quicker on that. I could cancel my cast to get the barrier, but I'm more important as a DPS rather than shielding myself. That would have been hard to outrun if we were actually standing way over there. That's what shortcast is for. I'm targeted, but it doesn't matter. If that hand gets to you, it grabs you. And your friends have to free you. This changes nothing. The Ultima weapon is activated and it brims with the power of icons. Nothing can withstand its might. Are you alright? What of Nero? Fled? Damn it. In the instant prior to the blackout, the instruments detected a massive power surge from the deepest chamber. Gareth is certain to be there. We have no time to waste. Word arrived from the Alliance a short while ago. It seems the Order of the Twin Adder has completed its blockade of Castrum's sentry. What hands they can spare are hastening this way even as we speak, and likewise for the Maelstrom. All that's left is to destroy the Ultima weapon. I should warn you, the chamber which houses the target appears to be saturated with etheric energies. There's bound to be heavy interference. But even if we lose contact, you must go on. Just don't do anything I wouldn't do, alright? A lot of talking in this dungeon, but I think I'll get a break pretty soon. And without further ado, I present to you the Praetorium.
Keep your eyes peeled. Guys could be waiting for you down there. Oh, and don't even think about dying. You're too bloody useful. The interference is getting worse. I don't think the connection will last much.
Tell me, for whom do you fight?
Right now, we fight for you, dear guys.
Eorzea. Eorzea's unity is forged of falsehoods. Its city-states are built on deceit, and its faith is an instrument of deception. It is not but a cobweb of lies. To believe in Eorzea is to believe in nothing. In Eorzea, the beast tribes often summon gods to fight in their stead, though your comrades only rarely respond in kind. Which is strange, is it not? Are the 12 otherwise engaged? I was given to understand they were your protectors. If you truly believe them your guardians, why do you not repeat the trick that served you so well in Cartano and call them down? They will answer, so long as you lavish them with crystals and gorge them on ether. Your gods are no different from those of the beasts. Icons, every one. Except but this, and you will see how Eorzea's faith is bleeding the land dry. Nor is this unknown to your masters, which prompts the question, why do they cling to these false deities? What drives even men of learning, even the great Louis Soir, to grovel at their feet? The answer? Your masters lack the strength to do otherwise. For the world of man to mean anything, man must own the world. To this end, he hath fought ever to raise himself through conflict, to grow rich through conquest. And when the dust of battle settles, it is ever the strong who dictate the fate of the weak. Knowing this, but a single path is open to the impotent ruler, that of false worship, a path which leads to innovation and death. Only a man of power can rightly steer the course of civilization, and in this land of creeping mendacity, that one truth will prove its salvation. Come, champion of Eorzea, face me. Your defeat shall serve as proof of my readiness to rule. It is only right that I should take your realm, for none among you has the power to stop me.
And there it was, Gaius's legendary Praetorian speech. Not much changed from how it was originally, but my one complaint is that he still doesn't say, or no longer says, how very glib, in respond to your first answer to his question. The speech also had a little bit of input allowed in the older version to answer his questions with whatever you want. But in this version, the adventurer is kind of silent. Perhaps just not humoring him with an answer. Part of my reason for playing as a summoner in these last couple dungeons is to fight Gaius with the summons he so dearly hates, kind of throw them back in his face. Here's that Garuda you hate so much, Gaius. What are you gonna do about it? I actually thought we might beat him before this phase. He was so close to running out of HP. I'm not sure if it's possible to skip this phase, but it seems like we might have. I of course don't want to skip the phase, but it would have been interesting if we could. I don't think I've ever done that even on my main character. Just one hit away. We might have been able to skip it, actually. Funny.
I had not thought to be so hard-pressed. Your strength is most impressive. Such power befits a ruler. Yet, you lack the resolve to put it to proper use. A waste. Allow me, then, hero, to do that which you will not.
And it can't end with a dungeon, obviously. We'll be taking on the ultimate weapon as a Black Mage. Of course, that does mean we're going to have to queue in one more time. Once more, we'll wait for reinforcements.
True power of the Ultima weapon.
It's been a while since I've been Black Mage. Hopefully I can remember. In Titan's trial, you needed a teammate to free you, but all our teammates are entombed as well. Was I in range of that? Oops. Not even allowed to regain my MP. Nowhere safe to stand.
Why does my enemy still stand? Can her strength truly be so great?
Komori is built different.
It is the blessing of light that confounds you.
La Brea.
Your foe acts under the protection of the crystal she bears.
So, this is what empowers her.
beyond mortal limits. If you are to prevail, the hammer of darkness must needs be brought to bear upon the shield of light. And so it shall, for the Ultima weapon is host to a power of which you are as yet ignorant.
Speak plainly, Ascian.
The heart of Sabik. It is the weapon's core, an enigma whose surface even the vaunted scholars of ancient Alec failed to scratch. The magic within has lain dormant for eons.
Of what magic do you speak?
A spell without parallel. Ultima. I sought the life force of the primals for no other reason but to quicken the core. For the true power of the Ultima weapon lies within its now beating heart.
La Brea, what have you done?
No more than was necessary for my god to be reborn.
Damn you, Ascian.
The hour is at hand. Behold but a sliver of my god's power. From the deepest pit of the seven hells to the very pinnacle of the heavens, the world shall tremble. Unleash Ultima!
Such devastation! This was not my intention!
Oh, Hydaelyn. It seems the task of keeping your champion alive has exhausted what strength you had left. Van Belsar, your enemy's shield is broken. The rest I leave to you.
We will speak later, Ascian. But first, I must deal with you. The question of who is mightier remains. Come, adventurer. Let us find the answer together.
And here we go. Last stand. If I'm not careful, I could die here. Specifically because I'm playing as a black mage. We'll eat that. That's where we gotta be careful. Entire sections of the field become completely dangerous. Ah, that was wrong. Careful. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm alive. And he's casting Ultima. I got to do my little trick after all.
No! No, no, no! Yeah. Heed me. The subjects of a weak ruler must needs look to a higher power for providence, and their dependence comes at a cost to the realm. The misguided elevate the frail, and the frail lead the people astray. Unless a man of power wrests control, the cycle will never be broken. You of all people must see the truth in this. You who have the strength to rule.
Alright, excessive celebration is too much. Show some respect for the man, Komor.
Pathetic. You boasted of unrivaled power. You were entrusted with the ultimate weapon. The ultimate magic. And still, you failed. So much for the glory of man. The growing imbalance afflicting the planet must be redressed. If it is permitted to worsen, the very laws of existence, both etheric and physical, will be warped beyond all recognition. Know you the root of this corruption? Hydaelyn. Like a parasite, she must be burned out if the planet is to recover. And naught but the return of the one true god will ensure her complete excision. Yet, to pave the way for the Master's return, a chaotic confluence of untold proportions must needs be brought about. And that will necessitate the presence of the primals. Needless to say, both you and your scion accomplices cannot be suffered to interfere in this endeavor. You will not leave this place alive.
Even with guys down, we're not quite done. One last guy that's been haunting us this whole time. Well, I'm not going to use that as the thumbnail, but just in case.
It is past time your flame was extinguished, bringer of light.
I guess it's fire versus fire. To be honest, I don't really remember this fight too well. It has, of course, undergone some changes, so I've never actually done this version of the fight. Like the other fights that they changed, I believe they made it more climactic, more mechanically interesting. I think we want to be here. Oh no, a black mage's worst nightmare. However, is feeling kind of tanky, only at 80% health. Not moving from this spot, no sir. Okay, I'm moving. I believe this was also like an 8-man battle or something. More interesting as a one-on-one, I'd say, compared to the Ultima weapon, which makes more sense as a trial. Double. I didn't know he had double. Alright, we shielded part of it. He's untargetable right now. Uh-oh. I don't actually know. Are we supposed to be able to do this? Am I just not outputting enough DPS? We're fine, right? Maybe I should have saved Mana Ward. Did I die? Yours was always a vain struggle. Surrender not, my child. Look thee to the light, and receive the power to banish the darkness. Okay, full disclosure, I don't think I've ever actually watched this. That you should still have the strength to intervene. Damn you, Heidelin. Triple. You burned through our barrier and still did some damage. Oh, we took some. I think we're moving faster too, because of the power-up Heidelin gave us. Feels like we're running out of sprint all the time. We know your tricks.
If thou wouldst pierce the shadows, make thee a blade of light.
What?
It's our friend. Alright, maybe Komori has a little bit of feelings for the thing. Just a smidge.
And so my conquest ends, Cid. In smoke and ashes.
Hear, feel, think. Warrior of light, beloved daughter. The darkness hath fled before the unclosed brilliance of thy spirit. Yet it lingereth still beyond the sight of men, in forgotten corners of the world. In the depths of the abyss yet resideth the Dark One, watchful ever, till this evil be cast out. Never shall the world know aught but a passing peace. Yet for the present, a gentle light shineth o'er the realm of Eorzea. With thee at its heart. From sparkling moat shall it swell to glorious sun, and all the world shall bask in its warmth. Blessings and joy be upon thee. Go forth, my child, and be as a beacon of hope for Eorzea and the lands beyond through all the days of thy life.
My lady, all Twin Adder units have fallen back to the outer perimeter.
The Flames have completed their withdrawal, General.
Admiral, all hands accounted for.
She's still in there.
Cid, has there been no word?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Damnation!
She's going to make it, I know she is. Ida is right. We must have faith.
Cid, can they not be evacuated aboard the Enterprise? That adventurer and the Scions are as the Warriors of Light reborn. We cannot abandon them to their fate. Not again.
I wholeheartedly agree, but flying into the midst of that would only add to the fireworks.
There must be something we can do.
Please, Mother Hydaelyn. Please light her way through the darkness.
Look into the light, my child. If thou would see thy companions returned safe to thee, reach out to them now.
There!
Oh!
Yay! Our Warrior of Light.
Yes! The hero returns!
Look! Thancred is with her!
Thank the 12!
Thank Hydaelyn. Welcome home.
You almost got us killed that one time, remember?
Now, we both know that was your fault.
Thank the 12 we're safe.
Mind your horns there, man-bull.
Ha! Mayhap when you mind your manners.
Though the crystal that bound Thancred is no more, I doubt we can say the same of La Habrea. And even if we could, we know that he is not alone. Confounded Ascians. Their god may be unknown to us, but their zeal is unquestionable. Suffice it to say, it would be folly to assume that they no longer pose a threat. Nevertheless, for now, we must savor what peace we have won, however ephemeral. Do you see, Grandfather? Our first step towards realizing the dream for which you gave your life.
Friends, the dread night of Imperial tyranny and Ascian machination is ended. A new day now begins in Eorzea.
True to their name, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, along with our champion, have delivered us from darkness.
Let their shared victory serve to remind us of our shared history. And let their bravery in the face of adversity inspire future generations.
Doubt not, the realm will need bravery in the days to come. Old rifts threaten to divide us within our walls, while hordes of beastmen claw at our gates. And though the Black Wolf be slain, the rest of the pack remains. Yet no foe need we fear, so long as we stand as one.
So long as the Scions stand for peace.
So long as our champion stands fast. For there exists no adversity over which we may not jointly prevail.
No longer can we turn a blind eye to the suffering of our allies.
No nation stands alone. If one should fall, so shall we all. Eorzea is our shared home. For any one of us to know peace, so too must our neighbor.
Just as we join in solidarity before you this day, so too shall our grand companies be joined henceforth to strive not only for the good of mere nations, but for the good of all the realm.
Change will not come overnight. Yet I foresee a day, not so very far from now, when the lines that divide our lands fade, and all of Eorzea is one.
It has been but 5 short years since the Battle of Cartano. 5 years since the advent of the 7th Umbral Era. No victory, however sweet, can wash away our bitter sorrows. No triumph can reclaim those we lost. Yet do not presume you honor them by dwelling on the past. It was not the past they fought for. You would repay their sacrifice by looking to the future.
A future united, as the warriors of light united in the champion.
Now is the time for us to rise as one, bearing all of Eorzea on our shoulders.
5 years ago, Eorzea bore witness to the end of the 6th Astral Era. Now, the 7th Umbral Era draws to a close, yet we come together not to glory in its end, but to mark a new beginning.
Let it be writ that on this day, by the light of the crystal, Eorzea ushered in a new era. The 7th Astral Era is come, and thus is ours a realm reborn.
What a ride. For the credits, I won't skip them, but I will turn on the scroll speed. When I started recording our YouTube channel, I wasn't quite sure how far I'd go. Of course, all these videos were just for myself, so I never really needed the YouTube channel, but with how much storage space videos take up, it became all but necessary to store them somewhere externally. And I'm glad I at least got to the end of A Realm Reborn. I'm hoping I can continue, well, indefinitely. I haven't had any reason to stop yet, and hopefully I won't have any reason to stop later. About A Realm Reborn, I feel like it was a speedy jaunt this time around. What I remember from the video that got me into the game, from the Let's Player that kind of introduced me to the entire universe, it felt like there was a lot of meandering about. Since that time they, as I mentioned before, updated a lot of the main story quest, cut down a lot of the extra quests that were added into the quest line, or to streamline people's catching up to the rest of the content, while keeping in some of the more major stuff. And yes, I guess there is still some faffing about, you might call it, which I think is good to keep in, since it's representative of what the game is and was. A lot of the earlier missions are mostly just that, even though those are the parts that were most heavily redacted, you could say. The missions out of Ul'dah or Gridania or Limsolominsa, your starting city. The story doesn't really pick up until you actually join the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and all three of those prequel storylines converge. I think around level 15 or level 20 when that happens. Overall, the story here is still kind of considered the weakest by most players among all of the playable parts of Final Fantasy. The remaining expansions pretty much only go uphill, though there is, according to some players, a dip around Stormblood. I don't necessarily agree with that, but people do have their favorites. I will note that the storytelling does become a little bit different later on. Heaven's Ward, for the most part, the next expansion, kind of picks up where we left off after the patch quest, which we'll have to get into after this, but in terms of the feeling that you get from the general story of Heaven's Ward, I consider it pretty similar to what we experienced here, a kind of light versus dark centric thing, though that's pretty much omnipresent through most of the story in any expansion. I think it's around Stormblood and later on where the story starts to get a bit more personal. I'm not sure how to put it. Well, if my videos do ever reach that point, maybe I'll talk about it then. It's not like I need to explain it to myself, though. That's the only audience for these videos, so I guess the only purpose for me to explain it would be to practice putting those thoughts into words, as I always have. The story in A Realm Reborn is, of course, heavily steeped in A, the Beast Tribes, and B, the Guardians. Though those remain kind of omnipresent, as much as the light versus dark themes in later expansions, they take the forefront here and then end up taking more of a backstage presence later on, mostly the Beast Tribe stuff. Guardians, we're not done with, even if the back wolf is gone forever. But as part of that light versus dark stuff, they kind of lean heavily on Hydaelyn, especially in this finale. They actually make you lean even more on her than they previously did, with the updates that they made to the fights with the Ultima weapon. And as I just experienced in the fight with La Habrea, I thought I watched the La Habrea fight before, but playing it now, I don't really remember those attacks he was doing. Felt like it was the first time I was seeing it. I was pretty surprised when I actually failed the DPS check, but of course that was scripted. It wasn't the first time I failed a DPS check. My first fight with Ifrit was actually botched because I failed to destroy the Infernal Nail in time. But of course, that was a much closer call. There was no way I would have destroyed La Habrea's 4 magical balls or whatever in the amount of time he was charging up his attack. They actually got me with that one. A little bit. What I was saying about Hydaelyn interfering a little bit more, she was always part of the cutscenes, but during the actual fight with Ultima Weapon, they added in those segments where she breaks you out of Titan's shackles, the boulders, added in the part where she breaks Garuda's wind barrier, which makes Ultima Weapon invulnerable for a brief period, and added in the part where she stops Ifrit's Inferno attack that covers the whole arena. And the most important change they had, to me, was adding in the part where Hydaelyn gives you a limit break level 3. Something that, up until this point, would have been entirely impossible for the content that the player is thrown into. Up until now, the player only has a 4-man party, whether it's in dungeons or the kind of prequel trials against Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan, which have only 4 players in them, whereas normal trials have 8. They made it a special exception for the fight against Ultima Weapon, where Hydaelyn gives you a limit break level 3 in your 4-man party. That's the little trick that I had to put up my sleeve. Just wanted to have a special little line for Gaius when we throw Meteor on him as the Black Mage. The risk was just that anyone else might end up taking the Limit Break 3. It's of course more efficient to have a melee Limit Break 3, but I was hoping it would be okay if I took it. Another note about that final cutscene escaping the Praetorium. When the Scions are waiting for you outside of the tunnel, and you're riding the Magitech armor out of it, the moment where Hydaelyn flashes white, I know that's a point where the cutscene is different. If you had played 1.0 and have the mark on your neck indicating so. At that point, everyone around the realm, the Scion specifically in that cutscene, remembers that you are the Warrior of Light from 1.0. There are specific voice lines for that, which we skip over because I don't have that save file, or whatever, on my character. But it's introduced at that point because in that moment, it becomes immaterial whether or not the characters remember you or not, because moving forward, you are the Warrior of Light. Whether you became the Warrior of Light in 1.0, or just then became the Warrior of Light for defeating the Ultima weapon, from that point forward they'll always refer to you as the Warrior of Light, and they won't need to refer to any memories they have of 1.0. Though they do have them. Looks like we're reaching the end of the credits now. I was running out of things to talk, but I would have been happy to sit here in silence while the credits scroll by. Meteor survivors? What is this? Oh. Are these all the people that... all the player names that made it through 1.0? I guess you could find your name here in the credits if you did 1.0 and stuck around for 2.0. I never knew this was here. I guess I must have skipped the credits my first time drawing my main character and never seen this. Huh, Queen Cat. That's a nice thing the developers added in, for the people that stuck around from a 1.0, not from 1.0 to 2.0. There are probably hundreds of thousands of players, maybe not that much. You won't sit through all of them. What always confused me about the Ascian part of the storyline, with them taking over Tancred, in general the Ascian powers kind of confound me. Never really understood how they're able to take over a living human, and without getting into spoilers, that kind of shaky writing, you might call it, never really happens again, where they just kind of take over a main character out of the blue. I don't consider that a spoiler, but maybe I'm saying more than I should.
What is it?
What was that? That roar. It can't be. Did you hear that?
There's no time to spare.
Where is it coming from?
Dread tidings! Chaos and carnage! It is an abomination! A primal has awakened!
Bahamul, move.
Bahamut stirs.
One Azaz move star.
As will the others ere long.
Fanzad lokpai ki hats Haldorn Zul, Ukudorn.
'Tis not a question of whether Eorzea's champion shall yield, but of when.
We next starve Chemuv. They only cause the pause right ball.
And with each passing moment, we draw closer to the reckoning. To the one true God. To Zodiarch. And thus did a dawn break on a realm reborn. But where there is light, there is always shadow. And we get a title drop, or a name drop rather, for Zodiarch, the one true God, who I actually thought they named earlier, but I guess they haven't been referring to that person, God, in specific terms until now. Well, not that our friends know yet. We've been going on for a while, but we have to wrap up with our friends, don't we? Yes, I know. You've come a long way since I first saw you running around the Wakened Sands. You sure gave those Imperials what for. I knew you were something special, Komoi. I reckon a lot more folk will take up adventuring after hearing about what you've done. Brave men and women all hoping to become the next Komoi Moriko. At least I get to brag about having met the original, eh? By the gods, to think this ragtag band of idealists could lay the 14th low. 'Tis a tale straight from a storybook. I imagine my former associates would find it most appealing. After all, what young ruffian hasn't at one point fancied himself a hero in the making? I think I may bring more than a few recruits back with me from the 12th Wood. Daryustel, I believe he was the dusk white elf that we helped out outside the bar, and who helped us in return when we found ourselves surrounded. Iliad, of course, the priest that took care of Sid. We held a vigil at the church until word came of your success. I cannot express to you how relieved I am by your safe return, Komoi. I think we could all do with a good rest, don't you? I know I could. I still haven't had the time to think about everything that happened, about Nero and Gaius. We'll get our rest shortly, don't you worry. You're an inspiration to us all, Komori. An honest-to-God's hero that never gives up, never gives in. And neither will I. I'll win Tataru's heart, see if I don't. Watching you live the life of a free adventurer has helped me realize that I can't keep putting off my dreams forever. I've been talking with Wedge about opening a workshop, independent of Garland Ironworks. Maybe in Vilbrand, I don't know. Working with the chief is great and all, but someday I want to build my own enterprise, you know. I didn't actually know that about Biggs. Arnvold, our stalwart companion in the Scions, here since day one, even before the purge happened here in the Waking Sands. One of the survivors. One day I hope to become a hero to the people like you. A hero like Abba and Ali were to me. Abba and Ali, of course, Scions we talked to that didn't make it out of here. Hehe. We all decided to give you a special surprise welcome, just like the ones in heroic epics. Your story took many twists and turns, but you managed to get to the happy ending. Let's hope for more happy endings to come. Though a new era has begun, on such a momentous occasion I find it good for the soul to tie up loose ends. You and me both, Papalymo. There are so many after the main story to tie up. We have patch dungeons as well as patch quests, obviously. We have raids and alliance raids, two different things. And we have beast tribe quests, which may end up taking the most time, but we'll get to that later. What would I suggest you do? Why, the same thing you always do after accomplishing a task, report to Minfilia. It ends where it begins, my friend. I realize I have been the cause of tremendous consternation, and for that I deeply apologize. But you haven't the time to waste chatting with me. Minfilia is expecting you. Welcome back, Warrior of Light. We, all of us, prayed for your safe return. The seventh astral era has dawned, setting in motion a myriad of new beginnings. I suspect our paths will diverge for a time. Have you said your farewells to the Scions? I've saved my favorite Scion for last. The land my master sheltered from oblivion has been delivered unto a new beginning, by the hand of the Warrior of Light. Thus doth history mark the passing of an era. The dawn doth bring us the sky, and shineth o'er this nascent age of hope. And though the clouds gather to mute the sun's rising glory, I would walk far with thee under its gentle glow. Where men go, there is life, and where there is life, there is cause to hope. The light of hope shines brilliant within you, Komori. I only wish my grandfather were here to see it. The Archons have conducted a preliminary investigation into the origin of the roar that rang out during the celebration. Their findings strongly suggest that a new primal has appeared. The roar generated a distinctive wave pattern in the aether, a pattern observed only once before in history, 5 years ago to be precise. I should like to think it mere coincidence, yet we cannot discount the possibility. Well, I trust I need say no more. At great sacrifice, we have delivered Eorzea from the threat posed by the Empire and the Primals, and thereby secured peace. We cannot well allow the realm to be plunged into chaos once more. You have given your all for our cause, risking life and limb on I know not how many occasions, yet our struggle continues, and we need you now no less than before. Please continue to stand with us, and together we shall safeguard the future of the realm, of this very star. And we get the Magitech armor, our good friend, and a bottle of Fantasia, something they give to the adventurers that started out as something they don't like only to reach the end of the story and think they are due for a change. Fantasias are few and far between. Usually you have to buy them from the market board, but I guess they give this to you as a concession. And we unlock flying. We can fly everywhere in A Realm Reborn now. This was something added later to the game, around Heaven's Ward. But they retconned the previous areas to allow flying. Some of these areas are a little bit weird looking when you fly above them. As you can tell, they're not designed for flying, but with all the flying that you get in the later expansions, it would feel weird going on foot. All you have to do is jump while on a mount. All mounts can fly. I think previously they couldn't, only some mounts could. But at some point all mounts were given the ability to fly, even if it doesn't make sense. Now then, this next quest, I believe, would be the beginning of the patch quests. Well, Minfilia also has something else for us. I assume relating to that roar that we heard. The unnamed primal, which may be obvious if you consider that she spoke of 5 years ago. But we'll get to that later, or maybe we won't. We'll see. For now, it's the dawn of the 7th Astral Era. A time of peace amongst the realm, even though there's a lot to do in it. Before we get into all of that, now would be a good time to take a break.